Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at the top business stories. Banks to treat loans as total loss after 6 months of non-payment. Dubai Group misses payments on 2 separate loans. And we find out how the region is addressing money laundering concerns. Welcome back. With money laundering a cause for global concern, how are governments around the world looking to counter the problem? And how is this affecting international financial stability? Well, to discuss this today, we're joined by Andrew North, the Managing Director of business consultancy and internal audit company Protiviti Middle East. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Laura.
Now, so give us a global overview of the money and the money laundering business around the world.
Well, just to clarify initially, Protiviti isn't involved in money laundering, of course. We're a global consultancy, and we specialise in risk and business consulting. And one of the services that we offer is to help companies combat money laundering, effectively anti-money laundering, or AML. And money laundering is essentially a way of disguising the proceeds of crime to make them appear as though they come from legitimate business activities, effectively turning dirty money into clean money. Now, the scale of money laundering is huge. The IMF estimates that money laundering is up to 5% of global GDP.
Wow, it's that much, isn't it?
Which is about $1.5 trillion per annum. And one of the services that Protiviti provides is to help companies combat money laundering. Now, we either do that on a standalone basis or as part of a larger project. For instance, we're working with an international bank at the moment to restructure their entire organisation. And that covers process improvement, corporate governance, people and technology change. And one aspect of that is to implement rigid anti-money laundering controls, policies and procedures throughout the bank and to train their staff in combating AML.
So in terms of the Middle East, what are the issues facing this area of the world?
Well, there are two main issues that impact regulators and business alike. Firstly, a lack of sufficiently experienced resources and staff, and also the discipline within companies to effectively monitor their money laundering programs throughout the companies. Now, Protiviti can contribute in that area, both by having our staff. We have very highly qualified, specialised staff that can share their experience with companies, and also we set up anti-money laundering controls within the organisations. The second area is a view of global investors about Middle East regulations in general. There are a large amount of companies outside of the Middle East that want to invest in the Middle East, either through strategic partnerships or joint ventures. And Protiviti Corporate Finance handles such transactions. We handle everything from valuing the company, introducing the investor, and managing the entire deal life cycle. And one of the things that gives overseas investors comfort is that Protiviti has an international reputation for integrity and objectivity. And that gives them a great deal of confidence in going into these transactions.
Definitely. So tell us about some of the statistics as well as to how many cases have sort of come up within the Middle East.
Well, it's actually quite difficult to get good statistics throughout the Middle East. And information is limited in what's publicly available. And we know how challenging this is because we work with other companies, such as Gulf Investment Corporation, to do analysis across the region. And we have 6 offices throughout the GCC. So we're able to provide quite powerful insights into the business and economic issues of the region.
So in terms of the Middle Eastern governments, I mean, what are they doing to sort of try and combat the problem?
Well, the government's role is twofold. They're responsible for the legislative framework, the laws that are put in place, and also supervising them. And one thing that they need to do is make sure that the laws and regulations are maintained up to date. For instance, the Central Bank of Bahrain in August issued a consultative paper about money laundering in the capital markets area. And Protiviti experts responded to that, giving our best advice and industry best practice.
Oh, right.
So that's a way of Protiviti being able to contribute to shaping the legal landscape going forward.
Definitely. So what about the UAE?
And in the UAE, there have been various reports about the UAE, and there's a financial investigations unit in the UAE that is responsible for collating information. But in the UAE, it's a two-pronged process. There's overall general legislation, and then there's the DIFC, which specifically regulates financial bodies. Okay,
because they obviously have their own sort of hub of legislation within that area, of course. Yeah.
That's right, and also financial companies see a great deal more in terms of money laundering and have more to combat in that area, because it's so much easier to divert funds around the world and layer the transactions.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise. Thank you, Laura.
Well, that's it from the business desk. You can write to us, though, at ib@city7tv.com. Up next, Natasha Thomas is back with further details on the F1 after parties in Abu Dhabi.